Okay, hi. Welcome back to Little T Play Stationeers. This is episode 3, Four Walls and a Roof. And at the end of the last episode, we kind of finished setting up our solar panel automation. And currently the solar panels are only reading the horizontal positions. Is the horizontal? No, the vertical position, sorry, of the sun, right? They are not reading the horizontal position of the sun. But that's okay because we're on the moon and there isn't really a horizontal angle to read, right? Because it's at 0 degrees. So essentially what that means is it goes right over your head, right? Now if you decided to follow along on Mars, you'll have an 8-degree offset. So to get the maximum output possible from your solar panels, you would need to look up how to go through the process of having the solar panels monitor the horizontal angle. But what we're going to do is just stick with the vertical for now because it's less complicated, and you don't really lose that much on Mars, right? You just have to build a few more solar panels to kind of compensate. So it doesn't start to get really important until you get to places like Europa, right? So we're just going to deconstruct this now kind of worthless basic solar panel so that we can put in our two other solar panels that we wanted to build at the end of the last episode. That's not a solar panel, that's a solar generator. Solid generator, which we'll be looking at in a moment. So let's just quickly get these built. Let's put that down. Okay. So a few things happened between episodes, right? For one, I got my first subscribers, so that's cool. Thank you very much, guys. And I also went out and did a bunch of mining, right? So I grabbed some more coal, some more iron, some more copper, and some more gold. And I also grabbed some more volatiles and oxide. And while I was there, I saw some water ice. So I said to myself, let's grab that too, because it will come in handy later when we want to give water to our plants, right? So okay, you'll see as we place down these two solar panels here, of course making sure that the power connector is connected to the power line, right? So that they actually output power to the battery. But you'll see here, right, that these are oriented for the way that I have them put down, they're oriented at 90 degrees, right, so that they can follow the sun as it goes across the horizon, right? And here, they're following the sun, but they're oriented along the horizontal axis the wrong way, right? So basically, if this happens, then you just need to find the ones that are working the way they should and orient them the same way, right? So we're just going to do that real quick. And of course, we're going to make sure that they have their solar panels, right? So I went ahead and moved the battery because I was worried it was going to block the view of this solar panel to the sun. I mean, this whole setup here is kind of temporary. So in a regular situation, I guess what I would do is not have machines like this potentially blocking the sunrise. I think here it'll be okay because if you look at the horizon, the sun comes up over there anyway. But we're not talking about losing a great deal of power, but you know, just make sure you don't block your solar panels, right? Because they won't work, right? So yes. So now what we're going to look at is the solar generator, the solid generator. This is a generator that uses coal to generate power. It has a data socket and a power output socket. Right? So when you place it, just think about where you want your power to output to. And yeah, okay. So pretty much how this thing works is you pop in a piece of coal and it will generate 20 kilowatts of power, right? Which is partly why I didn't use it right at the beginning, right? I mean, it's in your starting crate, right? You start with this thing, but I didn't use it at the beginning because I wanted to get this battery built, right? So if we just put in, I tell you what, let's first have a look at this tablet here, right? So let's hit R, let's alt drag this network analyzer, which is a power network analyzer, into the cartridge slot and turn it on, right? So this network analyzer will tell you pretty much everything you need to know about power, right? It tells you what devices are connected to a network. If we run over here a second, right? It shows me that the arc furnace, while it is on but not doing anything, uses up 5 watts, right? The autolathe is off, the electronics printer is on, using 100 watts of power, right? Etc., right? And so the potential is what is stored in the battery, right? Whatever is the battery that this network is connected to is what will show up as the potential, right? So that's the power stored in that battery. Required is what the machines are asking for, right? And the actual is what is coming through, right? So we have 6 devices. We have a battery that has 1.12 megawatts of charge, right? Which is being drained by 250 watts per, I think it's per second, I'm not sure, but per time, right? So and on the network behind the power controller here, we can see that the power controller asks for 250 watts, right, to charge this battery. Rather, it's asking for 250 watts because what is here is 250 watts. Sorry, yes. So it's asking for 250 watts, and that is being called for from this battery, right? And the potential there, you can see that now that it is night, and the solar panels are not charging, right? There's no potential or actual power there. And what is required is what is left to charge on the battery, which is 2.8 megawatts, right? Now remember that a megawatt is 1 million watts, right? So, yeah, alrighty. So if we just put this coal in here and turn this on, right, you will see that now the actual and potential is 20 kilowatts, right? Which would immediately, like as soon as we turn this on, if we had not used heavy cables, then it would immediately blow one or more of these regular cables here, right? So you have to be extremely careful about regulating your power use, right? So anyway, let's enough about power. So this one coal in one of these generators should pretty, as long as you don't have like um, like a sprawling metropolis, right? Like with the setup we have here, one piece of coal should charge this battery pretty quickly. And if you want to like conserve the coal, right? There was a way to see what's in. I forget now. But anyway, the point is, right? Like once this battery is kind of charged, it's blue now, right? So it's fully charged. So we could probably just turn this off, right? And if it doesn't open, it means right there's coal in there. So we've only used 15 coal to pretty much fully charge this battery, right? So just something to bear in mind there, right? It's very easy to just forget about the coal and just leave this on. But that kind of results in very frequent trips to go mining coal, right? So okay, now what we're going to look at here is how to make an airtight space, right? I mean, the episode is called Four Walls and a Roof for a reason, right? So you could opt for more iron frames and more iron sheets, and you do start with, I think it's 30 iron walls, which is a full stack, right? So I mean that would be enough to construct what we need to construct. But since we went out and made steel, I'm going to go ahead and use steel frames and steel walls. And in the long run, that's basically what you'll be doing, anyways, because steel has a higher pressure tolerance than iron, right? So if you have an issue on your base where it hyper pressurizes, really quickly or whatever, having steel frames and steel walls will just give you like a little bit more time to like run around like a headless chicken and figure out what the hell is going on, right? So yeah. Okay, so we don't have the or in fact any resources in this auto lathe, right? So we're just going to pull this lever again and get the steel out. Now if you want, you can kind of time it, right, where you get the thing you want and you hit this lever again and the stuff will stop coming out. But I guess that's like pro level or whatever, right? So let's go ahead and make these steel frames. Now I've done a bit of math here, right? So we want to make, or I want to make a 4x4 space. That is a 4x4 usable space, right? And we're going to make it one level high, right? So like one frame high, let's say, right? And so that is 16 frames we're going to need. And the steel frames, just like the iron frames, need sheets to fill them in, but they got to be steel sheets because they're steel frames, right? Logically. And you still need two, right? So we're gonna put down 16 frames for the space that we're gonna call home, and then we're gonna just put like 3 extra frames out for our airlock, right? And then we're gonna kind of build like a little square arch over the top of this these 3 frames that are sticking out, right? And that's gonna be our airlock space, right? And then we're gonna need a bunch of walls, right? So in total, I'm gonna print out 24 frames, 48 steel sheets, and then if I remember correctly, like 19 walls, right? So we'll come to the walls in a moment. I'm just going to pause the video while these, or pause the recording while these print out, because I want to quickly get to the walls before we move on from the auto lathe. So yeah. Okay, so like we're halfway there, right? But it occurs to me that I'm gonna need 29 walls. Um, it's my this calculus showing through. And with regard before, while these print out, right? With regards before to the capacity of these cables, and indeed these, I mean, it is quite possible to have power generation that exceeds 50 kilowatts, right? Um, so what you can do to kind of avoid that, well, these, fly everywhere, right? There's in the electronics printer, you can build a transformer, right? So that you can regulate the power going to a network, right? And in the way that a power control, right, an area power control um, isolates this network from this one, right? Um, um, a transformer does that. So we could, instead of putting an area power controller here, we could have put a transformer, um, right, to isolate this network here, so that we can isolate the power and the data. It's not always possible. When you come to do things like heating, you'll see why, like automated heating. But with some small networks like this, you can isolate the data from the power, which to my mind, it just looks neater, right? It looks more tidy. But a transformer could have gone there instead, and they just have like a little dial on them that I'm gonna stop this a second and just pick up all of these, right? So all right, we only needed 48, so let's just drop that, and we'll keep these for later because I'm sure we'll need them at some point, right? So yeah, the transformer just has a little dial on it that you use to regulate the power. So let's say we put a transformer here. We would set the transformer to. I mean, the maximum for the small transformer is 5,000 watts, but just to be safe, I like to just set it like one tick down, right? So what are the ingredients for that? Iron, gold, and copper. Okay, and what do we have here? We have iron, we have gold, and we have copper, right? So yeah, I'm loath to disconnect this, right? So I think what we're gonna do is just pass on actually placing the transformer where we want it to be. I'll just build one and kind of show you what I mean here. Right? So just like the area power controller, right? You can change it to be I'm not sure what that is, but you can make the data and power input outputs change their direction, right? And there's a medium transformer too, but we won't get into that, right? So okay, let's just place this down, right? So you see here, right? We have this this dial, left to increase, right to decrease. So if I set it to 100 watts, it means that it will not let more than 100 watts come through the transformer, right? So you could put a billion watts through this side, but only 100 would come out this side, right? Well, okay, the other way around, but whatever. You get the picture, right? So I mean, to save power, I guess. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but like this is consuming, if I remember, like 200, something like that, right? So you could set this transformer to like 2 to 300, and it would make sure that these were always getting the power that they needed, but it would never consume more than what is on this dial, right? So brief explanatory interlude over, I should really have been pointing, building the walls here, right? So, about the walls, for the steel walls, the same as with iron walls, that's what you're going to need to build windows, right? And since we're going to build a kind of greenhouse, we're going to need windows so that the sun can come through into a sealed atmosphere, give light to the plants, who will then grow and give us some delicious food, right? Now there's other kinds of walls here. There's padded walls, there's geometric walls, flat walls, and arched walls. You know, and they have patterns on them. You know, they if you want to like really get into painting your base and making it look super cool, then those are the kind of walls you want for non-window surfaces, let's call them, right? But for now, we're just going to go ahead with regular walls, and we're going to need like 29 of those, right? So I'm going to once again pause recording. Just after I go through one small thing that is occurring right now. So you'll see down here, right, in my vitals section, that I haven't eaten food for a long time, so I'm very, very hungry. And what is happening now is that I'm slowly dying of hunger, right? So I don't know if you remember way back, we put a medical pill into this crate here, right? So the medical pill is how you cure yourself, right? So you see, I ate the medical pill, and now my health is back at 100%, and it will continue to keep falling until I eat some food, right? And bizarrely, it's I guess an oversight by the devs, right? But like, you can eat the pill on Stationeers mode without opening your helmet, but you can't eat the food, right? So I'm gonna guess that was an oversight. You know, and you'll see now, like when I've eaten the food, my health stops going down, right? I should probably have eaten the food first. Sorry, eat the medical pill first, but you know, my health will go back up slowly, right? So, okay, have we built those walls yet? How many walls do we have here? Lots and lots of walls. Right? So, okay, while the other 10 here print out, I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, so now we have our 29 walls, our 24 steel frames, and our 48 steel sheets, right? So, you know, we're just going to look around for a cool place to build our greenhouse. It's going to be kind of a greenhouse kind of affair, right? So, let's not build them on top of this hole. I mean, it doesn't matter. Nothing bad will happen if we do it. But you know, we can see here that there's some silicon in this hole. So let's not cover that up, right? Because silicon is what is required to make glass sheets. So I guess what we're going to do is come over here, and it's also nice because we're going to be using the furnace to feed atmosphere into our enclosed space, and also we're closer here to the output on the battery, right? You know, if we put it all the way over there, we'd either need to have like a second battery, which is never a bad idea, to be honest. You know, the more batteries, the better. But you know, just make sure there's a balance between, you know, how much power generation you have, you know, how much power storage is essentially the key here, right? Like once your capacity to store power exceeds your capacity to generate it, you should probably either make more things to generate power or stop building batteries, right? But I mean, for now with a setup like this, it's not too difficult to manage, right? So okay, we're gonna put down here our airlock space, right? I'm gonna build frames here like under the rock. Okay, and remember when we dug our trench, right? Around the around here, right? We took out the mining tool, right? Oh goodness me! All right, so we took out the mining tool, right? We turned it on, and we set it to flatten, right? So that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to stand where we kind of want the flat to be, right? And we're just going to kind of dig out these crates here, these frames, and go through. Doesn't have to be, because this is going to be the floor, right? We don't really need to be too OCD about it, but I want to dig out a good flat surface here, right? So while I get on and do that, I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording again. Okay, so I've flattened out, like a really nice little piece of land here. So let's go ahead and put this mining tool. Well, how about we turn it off first, right? Let's put this mining tool back in our belt. Let's get our steel sheets out of our bag, and let's start laying down this 4x4 living space, right? So yeah. Now when you lay down your space here for your hydroponic farm, something that's quite important to remember, right? I mean, the reason that we have our entrance, right, our airlock is going to be right here. And so what we're going to do is on this side, because this is where the sun comes up, right? Or rather goes down, right? But like the sun is visible here. We're going to put in the windows here, and we're going to put windows in the roof, and we're going to put windows on this side, right? So that as soon as the sun comes up over the horizon and comes through the windows, the plants are getting that lovely sunlight that they're going to need to feed us with, right? All right, so we've got our 5 left over here, which are going to be used to build frames around what is going to be the airlock. And I'll kind of show you what I mean with the windows in a second, right? So let's oh, wrong button. So let's pull out our welding torch, right? And the steel frames are exactly the same as the iron frames and how they work, right? So for the floor, I think we're just going to go ahead and fill them in directly, right? You can just hold the mouse button down to go through the double cycle there. You don't have to like let go. And if you keep holding it down, it's not gonna like keep trying to construct, right? So the game knows you've used the two. Nothing else can happen here, right? So don't worry about that. Yeah. Now, I mean, you could choose, if you already have like a good idea of how you want this room to be set up in terms of like pipes and power. You could build into the floor, right, and then seal up the frames around the power, which certainly is something that I like to do when we're talking about like a very pretty base. But this is kind of I was gonna say quick, but it's it's yeah, it's not meant to be what do you call it? It's not meant to be amazingly pretty. It's just meant to be functional, right? And so here we go. My soup battery is dead, so almost died there, which is would be embarrassing, right? So yeah, and I'm hungry again. I'm always hungry, like true in real life as it is in this game. Okay, so we have our frames laid down and constructed, and we're just going to put a single layer of walls in here, right? Now to orient your walls, as you can see on the screen, we use the delete and page down buttons to rotate left and right. So let's rotate left and right, okay, and page down, right. The home and end to rotate up and down, right? And the insert and page up keys to roll left and right. So if I just use the mouse wheel here to scroll through the different types of wall, you'll see that it rotates, right? So let's go back to our windows here. And I'm just gonna put them on the inside, right? So you'll see if I come around here to this frame, if I go the right way, you'll see here, right, that this is on the inside of our living space, right? So if I try to put it inside here, it won't go because the frame is in the way, right? But if I try to put it here, then it's going to let me, right? Because this technically is the beginning of another block, right? So yeah, okay. We're gonna put these on the inside here. How about we put the windows maybe here instead, right? Yeah, let's do that. So let's use our angle grinder, which we use to deconstruct frames and walls. It, like the mining drill and the hand drill, takes batteries, and they don't last particularly long, right? So if you have to do like a bunch of deconstruction, right? Like say I had to deconstruct all of these frames here, I'd use my crowbar, sorry, my wrench, yes, my wrench to deconstruct down, right? So I'd use it once to take away one, and then I'd use it again to take away another. And then I would have to use my angle grinder to fully deconstruct the frame, right? So if I had to do that for all of these frames, it would probably use up, after, I think it's like 8 or 9 or maybe 10 uses. Again, unless something has changed in a recent patch, which might sound okay, but after a while it gets a little bit tedious, right? So I would advise either having a spare battery in your hand as you use the angle, or about your person as you use the angle grinder, or print out a battery similar to the one we have in our suit here, just so that they last a little bit longer. I didn't want to build a wall here. Come on now, come on, little team. Okay, so this 2 2x4 here is going to be where we put our plants, right? So let's use the home and end keys here to put these windows in place, right? Yep. Yes. Okay, now we can concentrate on walls. I'm just going to go with like type 2, type 1, which is just, you know, a regular wall, right? Nothing fancy, no special patterns or designs on them, just a wall, right? Okay. Now you'll notice I'm not putting walls on the frames, you know, but if you want the base to look nice, you know, then I highly suggest you do, because having these frames exposed, I find, you know, pretty ugly, right? Okay, so there we go. We have the basic skeleton here, right, of our enclosed space. Now we're going to need to figure out what to do with our pipes, right? So I'm not going to like actually do the atmosphere in this episode. I think that's well, you know, if we have time before the hour I have allotted myself is up, then I may at least put in the basis for it, right? Like a tank and those kinds of things. But like, okay, let's go ahead and build the walls here. So for a regular wall, we need 2 plastic sheets, right? And for a window, we need 1 plastic sheet, and then once we've put that plastic sheet in, we're going to need one of these glass sheets here, right? You know, it's a window after all, right? So let's drop down here. No, I think we put our plastic sheets away, right? Did I do that? Okay. Yep. Okay. So maybe it would be better to view this from inside, and then you can see the pretty and then the ugly, right? Okay. So we're just going to go around and fill out these walls. Okay, and there's nothing to stop you from doubling up, right? You know, if you want the inside of your base and the outside of your base to look nice, then again, I highly suggest that you do that. We'll just use one of these walls here to kind of show you what I mean. So, yep. Okay. Okay. All right. Use this one. So, we need the angle grinder, right? Yeah. Okay. So there's our angle grinder. Let's put that back. Let's use our jetpack to come out of here, right? So I'll kind of show you what I mean here, right? So we could put our window here, right? And then we would put a glass sheet here and a glass sheet here, you know, for like extra protection in terms of like atmosphere leak too, right? I mean, it's fine like this. You know, were we to fill in these glass sheets here and seal up all these holes, it would be airtight, but as you can see, it wouldn't look quite as pretty as maybe this does, right? So okay, so let's use our crowbar. Is it our crowbar? Yeah, our crowbar to deconstruct this, like get the plastic sheet from this wall. Our angle grinder to deconstruct the window. Let's put this this wall back in, right? Now, I constantly forget the orientation of the walls, right? So as you can see, right, this would be outside now. So we're going to put it so that it's going inside. And then we're going to find our type 1 wall, and we'll just look here to see if it's going to turn out like, symmetrical with everything else. And then, if it's not, then, you got to rotate it. You don't have to, right? But, it certainly looks better if you do. So, okay, there's our walls, right? And we're just going to put in these glass sheets for the windows, right? And you'll see that there's a window there because you then have these nice hexagons, which are a relatively recent addition. And another thing, yet again, that I have to be really thankful to the devs for, because I can't tell you how many times I wasn't sure if there was a window made or not. So it's kind of a non-issue now, right? So okay, okay, there's our windows, right? Yep. Okay, and I think we didn't do these ones, right? So okay, we have our windows, and when the sun comes up, our greenhouse will be lit up. Okay, so I guess now, pressing L here, by the way, for the light, which is something else that I right at the beginning of the series, I should have gone through. That when you lower the temperature and the pressure in your suit, having the light off during the day is also a very good way to conserve power, right? So yeah. All right, where are we now? I think I'm gonna eat. I think I'm on my last cereal bar here, so it's a good job that we are. Okay, I have. I'm gonna call that 2 days worth of cereal bars. So that's good. We're kind of on track here. If you find that it's too much or too quick, in the settings, you can change the hunger rate. You can put it up to like ridiculous if you want, or you can put it down to 0. While you're figuring out, like, how to produce food, right? We play for fun, right? So and dying isn't fun, right? So so yeah, okay. Let's just drop all this down here for a minute and take stock here. So we need to make an airlock here, right? Now to make an airlock, you can use. There is a specific airlock door, but you start off the game with a couple of doors here, a regular airlock cartridge. You're going to need a console and a data disk, right? And for the console, you will also need a glass sheet. And going to put in the doors first, and then kind of go through what all this is, right? So, I mean, you could use. I've never got this composite rollover to like work. I don't really know what it's for or what it does. I think it is to put things like logic chips behind, but don't quote me on that. Then you have this composite door, so you know if you prefer to have this this kind of door here, but I'm going to go with a glass door because I think they're pretty cool looking, and I don't really want to spend the resources on building an airlock door just yet, right? So okay, one very important thing when you build an airlock is that the power and data connections on the door need to be facing inward on both doors, okay? And they require some further construction, right? So we're going to need our plastic sheets. Did we use them all? Did we really use all of our plastic sheets? Well, that was convenient, right? That we had like just enough. So plastic sheets, and that means we're going to have to go find some silicon, right? Because plastic sheets require silicon. So I guess while I do that, I'm gonna just quickly pause the video, and I should really have thought about that, right? I mean, come on, right? Okay, so I'm gonna pause recording, and we'll be back with the plastic sheet shortly. Okay, so we grabbed our silicon, and we're just smelting it here. I don't know. You remember that little hole we had that we didn't cover over, right? So there was kind of enough silicon in there for the number of plastic sheets that we need. So so that's groovy, and it should be coming out anytime soon here. Okay. Alrighty, and these things fly out, right? You know, almost quicker than you can pick them up, right? So, yeah, these things are worth noting, right? So it's one silicon for every plastic sheet, and you know, you've seen just to build this little space here, right? You've seen how many plastic sheets we needed for that. So, yeah. If you see silicon while you're out mining, it's usually a good idea to go ahead and pick it up, right? So we're gonna have to like put something down here. Let's drop our. I'll tell you what. Why don't we move this coal into our mining belt? So we're going to need a welding torch, right, and plastic sheets. So there's one level, right? We might as well go ahead and weld this other door too. Okay. Then we need a crowbar and 2 glass sheets. Okay. So let's swap our crowbar for our welding torch there, and pull out our crowbar so that we can construct these glass doors, right? Now, when there's no power to the door and you don't have, you know, data connected to the doors, right? You can use the crowbar to force open the doors. Okay, which is pretty cool. And I think the next thing we're going to need to do is connect these to the main power grid. Okay. So I think it is time now to use this transformer. what we're going to do is we're going to use this power controller for our airlock, and we're going to use this transformer here to regulate the power here. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to use the crowbar to open the area power controller. We're going to take out the battery, drop it down here. And we're going to use our hand drill to deconstruct the transformer. Let's put that down here, remembering to orient the power input and output correctly. Right, we're going to take our small cables, if we still have any of those left. I don't believe we do, so let's just build a couple more. Right, literally, let's do 3 because I don't remember what's on the other side there. Oops. Right, so we're going to connect here. Now you'll see there, right, when you change, when you add a cable like this to a network that has power, it briefly blips off, right, which can lead occasionally the game to get a little bit confused, but lucky for us, it hasn't been an issue, right? So let's do this, right? See, they went off again, but they're okay. Don't worry, they're they're all doing, you know, exactly what they're supposed to do. You know, but if for some reason it bugs out, you pretty much have to turn everything off, disconnect them from the solar panels, right? Reconnect them, and then kind of go through the whole process over again. It's not pretty, right? So let's turn this on. Let's put the power output to say 500 watts. It's more than enough. Well, you know what? Let's actually see how much it wants to use, right? So this power network is requiring 45. Okay. So why don't we put that back down to 100? Let's disconnect this power controller, right? And you'll see now that this transformer is what is controlling the power input to this network. Right? I'm not going to disconnect this. We would like to have the extra cable there, but you know, I'm just going to leave it, right? So, okay, let's take this cable, because we are going to need more cables here, because we're going to use these small cables to connect up the power and data for the airlock here, right? Let's put this back in our suit. Oops. Right, let's deconstruct this. Okay, so we're going to need to fill in some of these frames here in order to put things on the wall. Okay, so where are we? We're going to need these steel sheets. Right, so we're going to fill in the ones on the side. Yep. Okay. Yep. We might as well do it twice. Now that we're here. But I've left these open deliberately for reasons you'll see in a moment. So let's go ahead here and build some cables. let's do 10. Should be no. Well, let's do a few more here. We know that we're going to need to come from the battery there all the way over here. We're going to need some more heavy cables too. So let's go. Let's just leave that printing while we come over here. And have I left the power? I have. So let's pop this in here, right? Because it's a tool, right? So it can go in the tool belt. And let's drag this from the floor into our jumpsuit, right? Okay, so we're gonna put our power controller, since the battery is over here, right? This power line is gonna come from this direction. So let's put our power controller. Let's orient it that way. Let's put our power controller. I guess here. Why not? And let's put our can't get rid of that. So oops, let's put our console somewhere like here. Okay. And let's just open this real quick. Okay. Now, if you are following along on Mars, the airlock that I'm about to build is a basic airlock, which is okay for Mars, but once I build it, I'll kind of explain why you would need an advanced airlock on Mars. Okay. What are we doing here? We've put in the power controller and the goodness me, and the actually, do you know what? We're gonna put in a cable here going up too, because we're gonna want to put a light up here, right? So yeah, okay. Let's connect up these to each other. Let's put a way for the console to talk to the doors, right? Now, as you're seeing, right, we're going to be having power and data on the same network, and that is absolutely fine. And yes, in the end, we need way more than 10 regular cables. So let's stop the production of this. Oops. I think 30 might be enough, but we'll see. We'll cross that when it comes to it. Beam, beam, beam. Okay, so we gotta have our cables here. Logged out of Steam, huh? Okay. If you say so. Failed to connect to Steam. Well, that's a shame. Okay. So let's finish connecting all this up. Right? So we're gonna need here, right? When we've let's build a straight there and a straight there. Okay, right. So that is the power and the data for both doors connected to the power controller. Remember, this is the output, right? Oh, my filter is low. Okay, let's throw that as far away as we can, which indeed is not very far, it seems. We'll pick that up later. We're not going to leave a mess on the moon, right? Okay, so here, right, we're going to need two ways to output here, because we're going to need on one side, we're going to need what are we going to need? We're going to need we're going to need an active vent, and you know what? I think we can put the gas sensor that we're going to need for this airlock over here, right? Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and build that. Kit. All right, let's search here with the keyboard, which is also a tremendous way to. Oh, yeah. How about we print it too? That would be nice. Oh, there's no iron. Do we have iron in here? Wow, there's no iron. So lucky for us, I mined some. Okay. Yep. Okay, so let's just have a quick review of what we have here, right? So we have in cables, console, a power controller. This is going to be a light. We're going to put in a gas sensor here, and for the moment we're only going to put in one active vent. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to put in one active vent, and the reason for that is because we are on the moon, and let's hope I haven't built like 100 gas sensors here. Oh no, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, come on, little T, wake up. So, okay, yeah, and it's lucky I didn't get it going, because you know they print out pretty fast. So okay, it's come out as like the same as the daylight sensor, right? So when we put it down, we're gonna use the mouse wheel and just place it down like that, right? So as you see, it's already measuring the ambient pressure, which is no kilopascals, because it's the moon, and there's at least on the Stationeers moon there is 0 atmosphere, like literally 0 atmosphere. So I think, you know what, since our plan, oh, did we not empty this? Okay, so let's do that first, right? So we'll empty the furnace here with our active vent, and then once it's emptied, we're gonna commandeer this active vent here to use in our airlock there, right? So while that's happening, I'm gonna put in the airlock cartridge. I'm gonna put the data disk into the side here of the console, and we need to finish it off with some glass sheets, or a glass sheet. Okay, that should now be almost, wow, okay, it's taking a while. It really is taking a while. So let's finish this off with glass sheets, right? And we're almost ready here. How about we make a light too, while we're at it? Yep. Okay. So kit. lights. Let's just build one. Alrighty, let's put that in our bag for later. Okay.
Jetpack on.
Okay. Alrighty. Is that done? That is done. Okay, so let's grab this active vent here. Let's put the active vent. Okay, so the moment it's oriented so that the thing touching the cable is the pipe, right? So let's just do that. Right, we'll press C to orient it correctly. We're going to grab a few of these pipes here. And I think now it is going to be time to build our third machine. So that's groovy. All right. Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to build. So we're going to make sure that these pipes are connected. Okay. And if you're following along on Mars, then in preparation for something we'll be doing, I think now in the next episode, which will be to make an advanced airlock, we're just going to put down the pipes in preparation for that. So that we can seal the frames off here. Right, so you see this comes down here, right? Okay. In fact, you know what? I think now that we've put everything in place here, I think I might call it for this episode. Because otherwise it's going to run a little longer than I kind of want to. But yeah, we got everything pretty much set up now for our airlock. So yeah, let's do it that way. Let's call it here, and I'll see you in the next episode. So, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you feel like subscribing, that's even better. And yeah, so have a great time, have a great evening, have a great day. And yeah, that's Little T out. Thanks for watching.